Hello, my lovelies. So today's video is actually going to be in response to a question that I received on another video. Someone asked, how do you find out what karmic debts you have? Now, there are a couple of ways that you can do this, and they're both really amazing. Now, one I have experienced for myself, the other one that I have not. So the two, I would say, most in-depth things that you could do to help you find the answer to this question. The first one would be to seek out an Akashic records reading. Okay, there are readers out there that have access to our Akashic records. Akashic records is basically your own personal file room, right? All the files of your experiences through not only this lifetime but any previous incarnations. So the past lives, and not only the past of this life and the present, but also some can actually see the future in your Akashic records from this lifetime. Now, I have not been fortunate enough yet to receive an Akashic records reading, but I do know that in that I have a friend that did an Akashic records reading, and she did explain that it was very in-depth, and it brought a lot of things into perspective for her. Now, Akashic record readings are a little on the pricey side. Most of them, from what I've seen and looking for them for myself, they range about $150 or more, just because this is a very in-depth channeling that this person has to do. The method that I actually did personally experience is quantum healing hypnotherapy. It is called QHHT for short. What this is it is hypnosis. You are put under hypnosis and you are connected to your higher self, and your higher self actually unlocks these memories for you of your past life, and you go back through these memories. Now, this was the one that I opted for just because I always wanted to experience hypnosis for myself, just to kind of see if it would work or what have you. And hands down, probably one of the best experiences that I have had. So I can definitely speak to the efficacy of receiving a quantum healing hypnotherapy session, and I'm gonna share my experience with it. Now, I got lucky enough to find someone that actually was right around the corner from me. And because where I live at the time, there wasn't a whole lot of quantum healing hypnotherapy practitioners. So I actually expected to have to go and take like a 2-hour drive somewhere, but I did get fortunate enough to find someone that lived literally 4 minutes away from me. I could have walked to his house. And so what happened is I go into his office, and we are recording as well. So he's video recording, and I had my own little personal recording device that can record up to like 8 to 10 hours or something, but it had a really big memory capacity. And so I lie down, and he begins to put me under. And I remember flashes of certain things, like when he was taking me under, he's like, you're resting on this cloud, and with every breath you relax more, and you're just floating to the sky. Like, that's the last thing that I remember him specifically saying to me. The rest of it was just flashes of these different time periods. It was extremely fulfilling for me. Now, while what the quantum healing hypnotherapy session did is it took me back to instances in past lives that were relevant to what I was going through in the moment. And it was kind of it kind of made me understand the karmic debts that I had and certain things that I was destined for based on those experiences, and they were absolutely beautiful. I believe I got walked through 4 separate past lives, and there were people that are in this current incarnation that showed up in there. It was very, very interesting. They do ask that you write questions down and prepare questions that you can, that not you, but that the therapist will ask your higher self once you are connected with your higher self. Now, for me, it was quite mind-blowing. I learned a lot of things about myself, and one lifetime, well, most of them actually made the way that I currently am make sense, because not only am I like this in this lifetime, but I was actually like this in an earlier lifetime. I think that one was like 2,000 years ago. So it let me know, this is who I am, and this is always who I have been. And then it took me through some other instances where, like I said, it was relevant to what I was going through, and there was lessons in those. So it was a really, really mind-blowing experience. And I will say, for the human side of me personally, I thought that when I came back out, I didn't think that it worked. I did not think that it worked. And he's like, with this stunned look on his face, because when I come out, I was like, oh no, do we have to do it again? Did it not work? He's like, no, we've been at this for 3.5 hours. Like, no, it definitely worked. So that one, I can't say if I prefer one over the other, but I will say that I will 100% do another QHHT session again, because I am at a different place in my life. So maybe there is something that I need to go back and see from a past life that may be relevant to what's going on in my life currently today. Now, as far as things to expect, now you could always, I don't practice either of these two, but there are a lot of QHHT practitioners in most cities. All you really have to do is I would search QHHT sessions near me. Okay, they are long, so I would make it to whereas you would have nothing else to do for that day. And I say this for a few reasons, because number one, those sessions are long. It can take 4+ hours for a session, just depending on how it goes. Also, I will say that they are a little bit on the pricey side, but it is for me anyway, it was 1,000% worth every single penny. They run around 300 and some change. I believe for my session I paid like $285, and for me it was well worth it. And they have to do that because a lot of times, that's for most QHHT practitioners, they can only do one session a day, because you have to think they're human too, and they're tired as well after. So most of them only do 1 to 2 sessions a day, because 2 people, that's an 8-hour shift. So it is a little bit on the pricey side, but it is 100% worth the investment. So I would suggest that one, just simply because I would definitely 100% do it again. And it was also very interesting listening to the things that my higher self had to say. It was quite a life-changing, dare I say, experience. So we talked about it, and I was surprised that it worked. He said, no, we have been at this for 3.5 hours, and he, pointed out, it was a couple of bullet point things. It was my questions that he said. So I asked your higher self this was the answer that she gave. I asked your higher self this was the the answer that she gave. So that would definitely be my feedback from that. Make sure that you have nothing else to do. And it wasn't that I was tired afterwards. I was actually quite recharged, but I will say that I was very lucky, that I was very thankful that he lived right around the corner from me, because I wasn't tired or anything. I actually felt quite recharged and refreshed. But it's just like, after a really good day at the spa and having a really good massage session, I wasn't in really any condition to drive very far after, because I was very relaxed. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe get an Uber or, you know, something like that, or have someone drive you. I went by myself. I was, you know, it was safe and things like that, because I know a lot of people may be skeptical about someone hypnotizing them, especially a man. But my spirit told me that I was going to be safe, and I trusted that I was going to be safe. And like I said, he recorded it and I recorded it. And also, one thing I will say, this is just the human part of us, and I actually did not even remember this happening. For whatever reason, I am the type of person where as soon as I'm relaxed and I find my comfy sweet spot, my bladder is just like, my time to shine. So what I would say is I would do it early in the morning, just so, because it's going to be a lot for you to reflect on. And then also try not to drink a whole lot before. It was a point where I was under, and my higher self was like, she has a human need that she needs to go and tend to. So I don't know how he did it, but he was able to keep me under, but bring me out enough so that I can function and go and potty. But so I would say, like I said, don't drink a whole lot, because you could very likely be under for 3 hours or more. So, and the funny thing is I did not even realize that happened until I went back and listened to the recording. I guess because he asked me, he was like, do you remember having to go to the bathroom? I was like, not at all. Also, the energy in the area was so strong that it actually triggered his alarm system. Sometimes when you're dealing with very high vibrational energies, it can affect electronics. And spirit is intelligent, so it knew not to disturb any of the devices, so it didn't want me to miss anything. But his alarm in his home security system actually went off. Didn't remember that. And it was very interesting. Like I said, the things that I learned and came across, and the position that some people that are in my life now had in past lives. So, like, fun fact, the soul that is currently my daughter was my mother in my most recent past life. So I'm raising my own mother. It was crazy, but it was actually a very beautiful experience. And like I said, it was quite life-changing, because it gave me a sense of, wow, I have not been just pulling this information out of my behind this entire time. I have had these experiences, because I remember being in my crib as a baby. My memory goes back to around 18 months, and I remember very vividly dreaming in my crib as a baby of these very distant places and things like that, like things that I hadn't come into contact in this lifetime. I'm still a toddler, so it did let me know, like, hey, you're not cuckoo, you know, because walking this path, people can be very dismissive of it and be like, you're just making these things up. No, I'm not. And so I would definitely suggest that. I would actually love to do another session. And I think, because I was actually choosing between a QHHT session and an Akashic record reading, and I actually chose the hypnotherapy session over the reading, despite the fact that it was more than double the price, just because I wanted to see it for myself and experience it for myself, and I was just guided that direction. I am not saying anything to take away from an Akashic record reading, but after I meditated on what was best for me as a person, my intuition and spirit led me to do the QHHT session, like I said, despite the fact that it was significantly more expensive than the Akashic record reading. So I would say that if you really want to definitively find what would, you know, how you would go about finding what karmic debts you have and things like that, I would say to choose between those two. Ask your intuition, ask spirit, pray on it, meditate on it to see which one of those resonates best with you. Research both of those things. What does a session of QHHT look like? What does an Akashic record reading session look like? And definitely choose what is best for you. Like I said, I know hands down there's no question if I would ever get another quantum healing hypnotherapy session done. 1000% I will. And I still would like to experience an Akashic record reading. From what my understanding is what I was told, it is not too different from a tarot reading. It's just no cards involved in it. So I definitely hope that that helps. And, you know, like I said, hopefully you can choose what is right for you. I just know that out of my experiences, those would be the best two ways to figure out how you owe, you know, what karmic debts you owe. And also in my session, not only did I find out what karmic debts I needed to address, but I also found out who owed me debts as well. So that was another interesting tidbit. This was probably 5 years ago. I still listen to that recording, and it's like I find a little Easter egg in it every single time. So I have listened to this recording many times. So, and that's another good thing as well. I'm pretty sure that an Akashic record reader can record the session for you, or, you know, you could record it or what have you. But I do like that I can still refer back to that recording just in case it's something that I missed or something that I already heard and it just slipped my mind. So hopefully this helps, and I also hope that you find the best practitioner for you of either of these modalities as well. So any more questions that you guys have, feel free to let me know.